May Morning, from the Book of the Duchess, modernized from the original Middle English, by Geoffrey Chaucer. My thought was thus, that it was May, and in the dawning there I lay. This was my dream, in my bed all naked, and I looked about, for I was waked by little birds, a goodly number, that had shaken me from out my slumber, with noise and sweetness of their song. And so I dreamed they sat along my chamber roof outside the whiles, and sang there sitting on the tiles, warbling each one in his own way, the sweetest concert, the most gay, that ever men could hear, I trow. For some sang high and some sang low, yet all their song made one accord. To say it shortly in a word, never was there heard so sweet a song, save one that did to heaven belong. So merry the sound, so fair the tunes, I would not for the town of Tunis, but I had heard them as they sang, for sweetly all my chamber rang with the singing of their harmony. No instrument nor melody was ever heard by half so sweet, nor in its blending half so meet. For never a bird raised up his voice in song, but shrewdly made he choice, finding him strong in merry notes. To sing they did not spare their throats, and truth to say my chamber was made fair with paintings and with glass. Its windows well were glazed and clear, and never a hole or crack was there, that to behold it was great joy. And holy there the tale of Troy was in the glazing fashioned thus, of Hector and King Priamus, of Achilles and of Laomedon, of Queen Medea and Jason, Paris and Helen and Lavine. And all the walls with their colors fain were painted, showing text and gloss, all of the romance of the rose. Closed were my windows, every one, and through the bright glass shone the sun, and scattered on my bed his beams, that fell in glad and gilded streams. And the sky too was very fair, blue, bright, and clear was all the air, tempered in truth, all mild and sweet, for neither cold there was nor heat, nor in the broad sky any cloud. And as I lay thus, wondrous loud, meseemed I heard a hunter blow his horn, as trying it out to know if it were clear or hoarse of sound. And trampling heard I all around of hounds and horses and of men, and much talk was of hunting then, how they had gone to slay the hart, how he had won at length a part to covert, and I know not what. But all at once, on hearing that, how they would hunt, right glad was I, and I was up full speedily. Left I the chamber, and took my horse, so forth, and never stayed my course, until I reached the field without. There overtook I a great rout, huntsmen and many foresters, with hounds in relay and limers. These to the forest hied them fast, and I along, and so at last I asked one leading a limere, Say, fellow, who goes hunting here? Quoth I. The forester said thus, Sir, 'tis Thumperer Octavius, he hunts and rideth here near by God's grace, in good time. Said I, Faster, and so began to ride, and when we reached the forest side, each one according to his wont, forthwith prepared himself to hunt. The master of the hunt blew 3 notes on the great horn lustily at the uncoupling of the hounds, and soon they stir the hart that bounds. Away hallooed, and fast followed for a long time, but then at last this hart by ruse hath stolen away from all the hounds a secret way. The hounds all ran beyond his trail, and nosed about to no avail, until the huntsman blew a blast that called them back to him at last. Now I was walking from my tree, and as I went there came to me a whelp that fawned me as I stood. It had followed, but could do no good. It came toward me just as though it knew me, crept along so low, held down its head and joined its ears, and laid back smoothly all its hairs. I would have caught it, but anon it fled, and from my hand was gone. And I went after it, and so down a green flowery way did go, full thick with grass, full soft and sweet, sown all with flowers fair under feet, and little used, or it seemed thus, for Flora both and Zephyrus, those two that make the flowers to grow, had set their dwelling there, I trow. Yea, one to look thereon had thought, that here the earth with envy wrought made strife to be more gay than heaven, more flowers to have, all like the 7 stars that in the weeken be. It had forgotten the poverty that winter with his frosty morrows had made it suffer, and all its sorrows. All was forgotten, 'twas plain to see, for green grew every woodland tree, sweetness of dew had made them grow. Nor is it need ye ask to know, if here were green groves, or if these were thick with trunks of full-leafed trees, and every tree stood by himself, well 10 feet from the next, or 12, such mighty trees of such great strength of 40 or 50 fathoms length, clean up without a bough or stick, with tops so broad of spread so thick, never an inch were they asunder, that it was always shadow under their roof, and many a hart and hind was both before me and behind. Of fawns and sorrels, bucks and does, was the wood full, and many roes, and many squirrels too that sate full high upon the trees, and ate, and in their fashion made their feasts. In short, it was so full of beasts, that even if Argus, the noble counter, should set to reckon upon his counter, reckoning with his figures 10, for by those figures all may ken, if they be wise, and reckon and number, and tell of everything the number, still should he fail to count aright the wonders that I dreamed that night.